Welcome back to the channel, all you decent people. Today we're going to be doing an in the bag style video, but I want to do it in a way that hopefully isn't so boring. Keep watching because we are probably going to be giving away this A2 300 and this D2 Air. Probably. Alright, so let's face it, most in the bag videos, at least for me personally, they're like a little bit dry. They're hard for me to get through. I did make one last year and it seemed to do pretty well. You guys were genuinely interested in what was in my bag and I enjoyed reading all the comments. But even if I'm watching like Simon or someone do an in the bag video, they're kind of dry. Maybe you get some shots of them like throwing their disc, but I want to try to make this a little more fun. So here's how we're going to do that. My bag is organized between approach discs and putters, throwing putters mid-ranges, fairways, control drivers, and then my distance drivers. They're sectioned in those groups, but when I put them back in my bag, they're not in any particular order, so they're mixed up. This came right out of my garage. It's nice and jumbled up right now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna flip for priority. If I land heads up, I'm gonna start with distance drivers. If I land tails, we're gonna start with the throwing putters and the mid-ranges. Now, this is going to cause some complications for me during this round. We're gonna play 9 holes out here at Two Rivers Church. Let's say I land on throwing putters. This is going to be thrown off of the tee. Every time I use a disc, I'm gonna try to give you guys a brief description of that disc and how I like to use it. And then let's say I throw this off the tee. Next up is going to be whatever disc is next to it. So that will be my approach disc, my upshot if I have an upshot, and then whatever disc is next to that, I'm going to putt with. Inevitably, this is going to make this round probably really hard because I'm not going to be throwing the discs that I would normally throw for these shot shapes. And to add a little insult to injury, that's how we're doing our giveaway. I average down 4 on the layout that we're going to play today. I have to at least hit down 4. If I do not do that, then I'm going to be giving away those 2 discs I showed you at the beginning of the video. You do have to live inside of the United States, unfortunately, if you want to win those discs. But if I don't hit down 4, those things are going to be up for grabs. All you have to do to win those discs is comment down below. Tell me if you like my bag, if you saw me foot fault, whatever. Just like totally rag on my game, give me compliments. But leave a comment down below. That's all you have to do to enter yourself into the giveaway. I'll put a date for the end of the giveaway in the description of this video. Let's get started. All right, this first hole is going to be just around 420 feet. It's a pretty soft par 4. Volleyball court is going to play OB for these 9 holes. Let's flip, heads up, I'll get distance drivers. Tails is going to be starting with the putters. Really hope we get distance drivers. Hey, look at that. The universe is actually in my favor today. So the first disc that we're going to be starting with that was all the way at the end of my bag is going to be my Clash Disc Wild Honey. It's a 12.5 -2.2. To give a brief summary of where my skills are at right now, my forehand is probably sitting around 330 feet. My backhand is 380 to 400. Sometimes we get a really good smush. And this is going to be one of my max distance discs. My preferred angle to release most of my discs is going to be on like a slight hyzer. So this disc is perfect for that, being understable. It wants to flip up and usually turn a little bit, but it will fade a little bit at the end. Perfect disc for this hole. It's what I normally throw. So let's see if I can carry that OB. Okay, not as much of a smush as I would like, but hey, we got over the OB, faded, should have a straight shot at the basket, and hey, we're always gonna do 2 off the top. So next up, whew, it's gonna be my Envision Star Wraith. You'll notice a theme in my bag. I really do like Wraiths. I have a couple of them in here. This Envision Star Wraith is the beefiest one that I've run across so far. This is primarily a forehand disc or headwinds. I'm going to be throwing this flat on a backhand, but most of the time this is a forehand only disc. I can get big flex lines out of it, but if you're looking for a really beefy Wraith, these Envision stamps, really good. Wraith numbers are 11.5 -1.3, but flight numbers really don't mean anything. This is risky. We're gonna put this on as much anhyzer as possible and see if we can even clear the OB. A little bit of a headwind. We got enough turn. Oh, it's flexing nicely. Hey, that's pretty safe. And just like that, we're off. So a couple things different with the channel. full disclaimer, I actually already filmed this entire video using my old camera. I've been using a GoPro Hero 4 Silver, which I think is from like 2012, maybe 2013, and was really happy with that video. And my mic cable, I guess, became damaged at some point, and so I had to scrap all the footage. It started to rain. It was dark out anyways, so I was gonna have to do a lot of adjusting with the lighting. But so I'm using my new Pixel 8a. It says that it films in 4K, so I don't know. I don't know how the microphone really is on this thing. This is gonna be more of a test video, but hopefully a fun format. Again, this volleyball court does play OB for this entire layout. I think we're probably gonna be taking the Wild Honey. Okay, so Wild Honey, not as much of a smush as it normally is, but still probably around that like 360 mark. We've got about 65 feet left to get to that basket. Pretty soft par 4. Again, trying to hit down 4 to keep my disc safe, so we're not. And then hopefully you guys win some discs. Next disc in my lineup is going to be the time lapse. It's a 12.5 -1.3. This is not that first run of time lapses that were super beefy. This thing's pretty manageable for my arm. I don't really forehand this disc very much. I don't really like the way it feels on forehands. I don't know if I just haven't gotten used to it. But I can throw this thing pretty flat, and it's gonna go pretty straight and just start to have a natural pushing hyzer. Almost not quite a fade, but more it'll just kind of turn and give a pushing hyzer. So for that reason, I throw it flat, sometimes spike hyzers. I don't think we can jump putt it there, but we'll give a forehand approach. Give it a little bidski, see what happens. It's up, and it's gonna be really wide. Just drop, 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 drop. All right, 25 footer for the bird. Woo. All right, so the disc that was next to my time lapse is going to be my bottom stamp Star Wraith. This is a newer Star Wraith that I got just because I have a really flippy old Star Wraith in this color, and I wanted to start beating something into that just because it's getting super flippy. I love my old Wraith, but I wanted something that's gonna start slotting into that. So this is just like a normal Wraith right now. It is a 167 gram. Don't really forehand it. I throw it on backhand on a little bit of hyzer, and it'll usually just push. If I throw it flat, I'll get a little bit straighter flight out of it. Again, distance driver. Let's see if we can make like a 20 footer with it. Tennessee flip. All right, folks, that puts me at down 1. So not a bad start. Again, a couple soft par 4s out here, but OB works. Next disc is going to be my Royal Grand Grace 11.6 -1.2. What can I say? The Grace is just an absolutely phenomenal disc. It's an absolute bomber, and it is still in my bag. I like to throw this flat, and it's actually going to give me just a little bit of turn before it kind of comes back, almost always finishing on the initial line that it was released on. If I throw it on a lot of hyzer, it'll typically hold it, might flip up a little bit. Not the disc I would choose for this hole. It's like 250 feet. Just for fun, we're going to try and carry the OB and spike hyzer. So the basket is behind that gaga ball pit in between those 2 trees in the back. Well, it's spiked, but it's super far left. Oh, that should have been a musket. That's where this video is really going to shine. Throwing distance drivers on 250-foot holes. So what's new with me? Oh, you know, throwing discs, out here grinding on the job. Not this job. I don't do this full time. That's why you guys don't get that many videos. Is been working a lot. Got another kid that's on the way, so that's kind of cool. He'll be here in September. Gonna have 2 boys in the house, the Border Collie and my wife and I. I guess I'm technically a boy, and so is the Border Collie, so 4 boys and the wife. So yeah, things aren't too bad. Excited to get out here and be filming some content for y'all. All right, they've like got a meeting going on over here in the building, so I'm gonna be a little quieter. Next up is that flippy Wraith. This, Robbie C, if you're watching, this is my precious child. I love this disc so much for my distance lines. I can release this thing, like no joke, on this angle, and if I hit it max power, it just flips up to flat, and it just pushes straight. So great for the woods, great all around. Probably not good for C2 putting. We'll find out. Backhand only disc, definitely not forehand. Close. We got close to the bird. Still down 1. Not bad. I got a chance. I've got a chance. All right, so the disc I'm going to be putting with is going to be a Halo? Yeah, I think Halo Beast. A disc that I really didn't think that I would love. Turns out I do have an Anheuser release, and I've been working on that a lot recently. So this is kind of what this disc is used for. I don't really throw it flat. I try to throw it on Anheuser, get big flex lines out of it, and it seems to work really well. Also a pretty decent forehand disc, has the stability for me to handle this, push it out to about 320, 330. See if I can putt with it. Okay, I forgot to mention that Beast is a 10 speed, so we started to move down a little bit. I still kind of consider that distance drivers, but now we're in my control drivers, pretty much an entire slot of 9 speeds that I have. First one that was up in my bag is going to be a Champion Valkyrie 9.4 -2.2. If you guys don't have a Valkyrie, this is a disc that I don't know how I could play without it now. I just love the way that it flies. I bought this one recently, so I wanted something with a little more stability, so this one is newer. I do have a dead straight laser star Valkyrie in the bag, but for now we're going to be throwing this one. Not the right disc for this hole, probably about 430 feet, another kind of soft par 4, but it's over the volleyball court again. I really liked making the OB in play when I designed this layout. I don't know what the play is with this. Maybe like slight Anheuser, because if anything hyzers out too much, it's going to hit the parking lot. So maybe just like a little bit of Anheuser. Let's see. Oh no. Well, that was a little bit of Anheuser. It's going to take a miracle of an upshot now. Y'all might be getting some discs. So, not a great result. Typically a good drive is going to land up there near those like pink trees, kind of in the parking lot. Parking lot is not OB for this layout, but if you live in Knoxville and you want a challenge, we do have a safari layout where everything that is concrete is OB. So, not doing that today. Basket follows the fence and the trees up there. It's tucked all the way up to the right. This is going to be a little tricky upshot. Going to have to hit a gap, and I don't know what disc is next. Let's see, there's the Valkyrie. Oh no. Okay, this is a forehand approach shot all day for me. This is not a forehand approach shot disc. This is a first run Prodigy H7. Now, this is a disc that I think a lot of people say, oh, I outgrew that, it's way too flippy. And yeah, it's very flippy. But if you have the control to release this thing, I mean, on this angle, it'll flip up to flat in the woods, throwing at like 70% power and just cruise. This thing is a woods machine. It's also going to be my roller disc. I don't forehand this disc. But for that reason, let's try to forehand it and see what happens, because I'm not throwing a turnover with this. Not doing it. Oh, it flipped up perfect. Just push, just push, just push, just push. Oh, I can't tell if that's shortening the crap or if I've got a putt. Not a bad forehand with probably the most understable disc in my bag though. So again, if you want to win those discs, just leave a comment down below, like and subscribe. Since I made my last video, I did get over 1,000 subs, which, hey, thanks a whole bunch, guys. That really means a lot. This is just kind of a fun, silly little hobby I wanted to start when I was a stay-at-home dad, and I love making content. It's a lot of fun. It's a good creative outlet. But to hit over 1,000, you know what? That's kind of cool. So I appreciate that. Leave a comment down below. Tell me if I'm making bad decisions, good decisions, if you like my bag, if you hate my bag. Speaking of hating things, I needed about 20 more feet. Okay, we're pretty pinched off. Maybe have like a weird layout putt. Man, if I make this putt, that would be cool. Really fun hole. It's really fun to skip off the parking lot, but if you end up pinched behind these trees, you have pretty much no look. But we're still gonna run this for birdie because, hey, why not? The disc I'm going to be using is going to be my Halo Firebird. Holy cow. Yeah, let me come talk to you about this for a second. Firebird 9304, absolutely staple of a disc. So overstable, rarely throw it on backhand unless I'm looking for a big skip. If I'm doing that, basket is probably less than 300 feet and I'm trying to throw it flat and it will dump and skip. Forehand disc, big like scramble hero shots, you know, if I'm feeling really brave and I want distance and I'm scrambling out of the woods, this is a great disc to just chop, and it's going to get that nice panning S line and come back. So really fun disc, really good utility disc. Probably not good for this putt. Yeah, we just gotta huck it. Just gotta huck it and pray. No way. Oh, nope, not a chance. I just realized that I normally use my phone to keep score when I'm making videos, and now I don't really have that luxury. So, keeping track, but we're down 1 right now. And next up is going to be that Star Valkyrie I was talking about. Sweet disc, 9.4, -2.2 are going to be the Valkyrie's numbers. This is an interesting disc for me. So again, I said my preferred release is going to be just a little bit of hyzer on the backhand. If I'm throwing forehand, I like to throw things flat. This really isn't a forehand disc for me, it's backhand only. I have to throw it flat. I throw it flat, it releases flat. It is a laser beam of a disc. If I throw it on hyzer, it holds that hyzer. If I throw it on anhyzer, it holds that line pretty much the entire time, doesn't fight out. This truly is a disc that whatever line you put it on, it just holds it and it mushes. I mean, I've definitely pushed this one out to 380 before. So really, really good disc. If you're looking to get some more distance, but you're kind of a beginner and you're looking to step up out of fairways, maybe don't just jump up to the big distance drivers, but try some of these 9 speeds and don't sleep on the Valkyrie. It's a good disc, and hopefully I can putt with it. Yep. All right, sitting it down 1. Need to get some momentum going. All right, so next to that Valkyrie, I have my Kevin Jones feedback. Again, we're still in the 9 speeds for me. 9, 5, -1, 3. Unfortunately, KJ's no longer with Prodigy, but he is still with us. This is a disc that I got from playing a tournament. Didn't know if I'd like it. All this is like, it feels like a Firebird in my hand, but it pushes straight for probably like 100 to 150 feet further, and then I get a really consistent dump out of it. Again, a disc that isn't making its way into my backhand slot very much. Typically just forehand this disc, which works out for this next hole. Basket's in between the 2 trees down there. I think it's just over 200 feet. It's like 203, something like that. So low ceiling though, which makes it a really fun hole. Those branches hang real low, especially in the summertime. Let's give it an ace run, see what happens. Probably really far right, but like 12-foot putt. So I think that's gonna be down 2, folks. Oh, dokley. So after that feedback, we're moving into fairway drivers. Man, let me tell you, what a fairway driver. If you haven't thrown the Latitude 64 River, honestly, I think one of the best fairway drivers on the market. I've got an OG one that I've had for about 2.5 years. This is one that's solely in my bag for water carries, crazy Simon lines, because I know that I can throw it far. I know that it does really good things. It holds whatever line you put it on. This one, if I throw it flat, it'll go pretty straight. The other one that I have is so flippy that it'll just turn and burn. So they do season into good turnover discs or hyzer flip discs. Right out of the box, I don't know. It's kind of hard to hyzer flip these things. At least this blue one feels a little more stable. But the River is a 7.7 -1, 1. Buy a River, just do it. Especially if you're just kind of getting into it and you want a distance driver. We all want to throw them. Have fun with whatever you're doing. Go pick up one of these. They're money. They're really good. That's gonna be down 2. Well, go figure. The next disc in my bag is my OG River. It's got this nice little cotton candy thing that I tried dyeing. It's a fun little dye. Just didn't like it looking white. This thing's pretty flippy. This next hole is another soft par 4. It's about 430 feet to the basket. It's all the way at that far back building. Feels like we have a straight tailwind right now, and there's an event going on with cars over there. What's scary about this is I want to hyzer flip it and mush it. But if I turn it over, it might go on top of that roof or hit that building. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a good choice. So I'm gonna maybe try to put a little less hyzer since we have a tailwind and hopefully get past that electrical box out there. We'll see. Buy a River, do it. Oh, goodness me. Hyzer flip for days. Couldn't pull off the Matty O and catch my sunnies though. That was probably like 350, 360. Definitely past the electrical box. I really hope that you can see that on the camera, but I mean, that thing just comes out on hyzer. Oh, it flipped up perfectly to flat. Rode the tailwind a little bit. I was pretty nervous about not flipping it up. when there's wind, that's not a disc that comes out very often. Definitely would not have been my preferred shot on this hole. But hey, it worked out. As long as I'm not a giant cotton-headed nitty muggins. Oh, excuse me. I should be down 3. Y'all are in trouble. Might not be getting no discs today. No ma'am, no sir. 420 to the shed, so I don't know. That's around the 370, 380 mark. Can't be too unhappy with that. Can be unhappy about this. Next disc to that river is going to be my Clash cookie. Clash is a newer company on the market, but man, something about their plastic, I love it. Now the rim on the cookie, it's weird. If you've touched a cookie, you know what I'm talking about. Next time you're in the shop, if you haven't, touch it. It's just a little rounded. The rim feels a little narrower for a 7-speed. Doesn't quite feel like my river-sized rim, but the whole thing just feels a little rounded, but it's an overstable disc, 7502. It's honestly just like a shorter version of my Kevin Jones feedback. I will use this for shorter flex lines. I will use this for forehands, sometimes big flexes. It's a disc that I use more often than not. It's found its way into the bag, and I think it's gonna stay there for a while. I don't know if we can make a 70-footer with it though. Let's see. Oh, what a great little roll. Threw it on forehand to avoid going in that alleyway, and what happens? We got a little lucky. Okay, so next disc in the lineup. Let's see, there's the Discmania Evolution Neo Essence. 8.6 -2.1. Still in my fairway slot. The -2.1, I would say definitely wasn't true out of the box. This disc was a liar. But man, does it crush. I mean, this thing, when I'm doing field work, it very often goes as far as my distance drivers. Gonna be a little bit of a hyzer flip disc. I lean towards using this more for turnovers that I want to push one direction to the right and then stop and kind of finish straight. So it has just enough stability to do that. Hasn't been thrown as much recently, but is still in the bag. Haven't found anything to replace it with. I do love my Essence. It is a good step up from the river if you're looking to maybe, you know, just experiment with a slightly wider rim. I don't know about this putt though. Woo. It's gonna be down 3. Y'all are in trouble. All right, I think this is where this video starts to maybe show its teeth. This is the hardest hole on my Safari layout. It's back at those trees to the really short hole we played with the feedback. I don't remember the hole numbers. This is gonna be 360 feet to the basket. The shot ideally is a big turnover, something that just is gonna throw out to the left and let it dump and crash into those trees. But my preferred line is actually the flex shot with that beast. Unfortunately, we've run out of fairway drivers, and now we've moved into my mid-ranges, and the next disc in line is my most overstable mid. So I've got an Axiom Prism Proton Pyro, 540 2.5. 2.5 because, you know, Axiom MVP have to be different than everybody. But I love Axiom discs, love MVP discs. I've actually been throwing them pretty much since the start. Love them to death. This is not getting there, so this is just gonna be a play for par. And we've got a headwind going there. I gotta give y'all a chance though, because we're down 3. So I think we're still gonna try the flex line. Maybe see if we can get it out over the OB. Maybe it'll fade back. Who knows? But yeah, gonna release it on Anheuser, see what happens. Maybe set some new PRs with the mid-range. I don't think 370's there though. Since it's overstable, this is kind of a utility disc. I use it primarily for forehands that are gonna be around that 250 to 280 range. We'll throw it on backhand into headwinds, but mainly a forehand disc for me. Gotta get some serious angle on this puppy. Give it some height. Oh, no Anheuser. Way too much height. Parking lot all day. Big stick. Oh my gosh. Did I mention this is a par 3? And now I think I have like the same distance to the hole from that line. I like to show you guys how I actually play. Terrible. That's how I play. All right, next in the bag. There's the Pyro. Oh, lucky me. Again, I am primarily a forehand approach player. I will always take a forehand approach over a backhand approach. This is just at my approach range. Lucky for me, it's going to be the MVP Uplink. Wonderful, wonderful beginner disc. And another disc that people are probably like, oh yeah, I had an Uplink, but like I grew out of it so fast, you know, it was just way too flippy for me. I think that's bull. Learn to control your angles, you guys. I can throw this disc so far as long as I release it, like I'm talking here, like you come through and it comes out there and it will flip up and ride straight, maybe push a little bit to the right. Not a forehand disc. I don't really practice forehand turnovers. Maybe I should, because we're getting a little unlucky today. This is not the disc for this upshot. But hey, if you're a beginner and you're looking for an understable mid, use this. And if you're really good at disc golf and you throw really far and you're like, huh, I need a laser beam in the woods and I like to lean over like this to throw, get an Uplink. They're great. It's a great disc. I don't think it's ever leaving my bag. I don't know the numbers. 5 something, very unstable. I don't know what to do. Oh, please come out of that. Don't go, OB. You saw it. I hope you can see it on the camera. It just keeps turning. I didn't trust it enough. Didn't give it enough hyzer. Boo. Really hope that was short. Don't think it was. Think we might be taking a double. That could be a big swing for you guys winning some discs. Oh my gosh. Saved by the bell? Nah. Saved by the pole. All right, so from here, we're pretty much taking bogey. Just have to have a good upshot or throw it in. Next disc, ooh, buddy. You can see when I get down into my mid-ranges, I clearly have a favorite company. Axiom MVP, I think they make probably some of the best mid-ranges and putters on the market. That's just me, but it should be you too, probably. The Hex, y'all, 5.5 -1.1, does not fly dead straight off the shelf. I will say that. I have a really flippy Hex. This just kicked it out of the bag because it was getting a little too flippy. And I threw a Detour recently that I got in a tournament, and the Detour is a flippy Hex off the shelf. So if you buy a Hex and you're like, huh, it just fades a little bit too much right off the shelf, go pick up a Detour. It's really good. Hex is in my bag just because I wanted something that I can throw really flat, and it is going to go pretty straight, maybe have a little bit of fade. This thing's a laser beam. I have no shot of getting it in this basket, I don't think. Or just throw it really short. See, sometimes I know that it's a backhand approach shot, but I have no backhand touch, and I just don't desire to work on it at all because I love my forehand. But now this is what happens. To save single bogey, we got to hit this putt with, oh look, another Axiom disc. Yep. So I've got a Proxy in my bag. Threw Envies for a long time. Envies were my approach discs until I got my Toro. Still have an Envy in the bag, still have a Proxy. I had a really flippy Envy and it flew exactly the same as this Proxy, and they battled each other for a long time until I got a new Envy and realized, huh, I don't have to be Proxy gang or Envy gang. I can just be gang gang. I have both in my bag. The Proxy is essentially an Envy, except it just doesn't have fade. It's a laser beam. It goes dead straight. I throw my throwing putters around like 280 to 290, and this thing, once it's flat and moving, it's on a rope. The Envy, only difference is it goes pretty straight. It just has a reliable fade at the end. We have a chance to putt with this. We could save single bogey. Maybe not with this ceiling. No, we're gonna have to do a little swoopy dukes here. Hit the tree branch and hit the cage. That's gonna be a double, folks. Puts me back at down 1. So, if you couldn't guess, next is going to be that new Envy. So, I already kind of gave a brief explanation of the Envy. The Proxy. So the Proxy is a 3.3 -1, I think 0.5, and the Envy is a 3.302. I'd say that those flight numbers are pretty accurate, except they've got a decent amount of glide. I don't think they want to hurry to the ground. I love Envies, been throwing them since the start, and I will probably continue to throw them forever and ever and ever and ever. I've tried other throwing putters, but Envy Proxy Gang, what up? For the double. You guys are probably getting some discs. I gotta say that I am really, really sad just because in the original video I filmed that I had to scrap all the footage. I was scoring a little better and I had the Envy on this hole. This is a par 4 and it's like 460 to that basket. It's a pretty big pump and I got to throw my Envy on this hole, but I'm like a stroke behind where I was at then. So now I'm gonna be forced to throw my Toro and I have to carry that volleyball court. And y'all, I like set a personal record with my Envy. I smashed it out to, I'll have to check the footage again, but I think I hit like 330 with it. And this hole's tricky. Like you're playing uphill and over the volleyball court, but for some reason I always throw further on it. Has something to do with like the atmospheric pressure and the moon lining up with the centripetal gravity of the Earth and Saturn at the same time. I don't know. This is a Toro. It's a very overstable mid-range. The story of how I got it's really cool. Not really. Found a tournament director's mini. He gave it to me as a reward. It instantly kicked the Envies out of my bag as my approach disc. I throw this on forehand approaches all the time. It just wants to get to the ground. This disc has completely changed my game. When you find a disc that you just know what it's gonna do pretty much every time and it feels comfortable in your hand, that is how you get really good at disc golf. This disc is just magical for me. People will liken it to a zone. It's just Innova's version of a zone. I think it probably has less glide, which I kind of like because it's a little more forgiving if I overpower it. It is not the disc for this shot. This is gonna have to be a big, big flex line aimed at those trees over the volleyball court. Hopefully we clear the volleyball court. Toro's a good disc though. Love it. I'm not using that T-pad. Boo-hoo. All right. Get over it. Yeah, I think we beat the long side of the volleyball court. Not a bad shot for that disc, at least. Kind of a smush for me in the Toro. I don't know if I've ever actually thrown it on a big backhand flex like that, but yeah, the flight was weird. I don't know. I can't wait to look at it on camera, but it was like going Anheuser, but it still looked like it was pushing really straight. I was like, man, that thing wants to fight out. Ugh. That's what's fun about doing videos like this. Like I wanted to make this fun. I'm throwing shots that I would never throw. Like these are illogical shots. These are not scoring shots, but it's a great way to show you guys my bag and just mix it up a little bit. I feel like I've been in a bit of a funk lately in terms of disc golf and life. So coming out here and doing something that's just silly can really help with that. It really can. Maybe I'm talking too much this video. I don't care. It's good for me. Might be good for you. We only have 3 holes left. I have to birdie out in order to keep those discs safe. So time to kick it up a notch. And again, unfortunately, my next disc is going to be my putting putters themselves. I don't think I've ever thrown these max power. I think we can get it there. I've got to. Have to. Alright, we've got the hit. Do we have the push? I mean, yeah, okay. That's a putt. That's all we can ask for. Alright, so here's my dilemma. I said I didn't want to throw both of them, but they are technically discs that are in my bag. So it's either I putt with this putting putter, or I just move back to my distance drivers. I gotta be a little bit fair with myself. I gotta give myself a chance. I'm using this putting putter. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make that putt. Or not. Gotta get back in it. Gotta have a chance. All right, y'all. That's down 2. Let me hear you cry about it in the comments. Go on, cry. Cry about it. Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. My Chaco pen came off of my bag, and I didn't notice it. And I guess it landed on the ground with the point facing up. And I stepped on it, and it went into my boot and stabbed my foot. So that's fine. Yeah, next hole, 415 feet, soft par 4. Cars are in the parking lot over there. Big eagle chance. We've definitely had some eagle looks at this. One of my buddies has eagled it. and the wind is right for it. It's going to be a left to right wind. You want to get something out there that's pushing to the right and then just fades at the end to even have a chance. We'll see. And lucky me, we've made a full circle in my bag, and I've got my wild honey. So if I throw this thing pretty flat, I should have a chance. Oh, please get around that branch. Oh. I'm telling you guys, I know that line. Oh, I know what it looks like. And if it had not clipped that branch, we would have been somewhere in C2, C1, putting for eagle. Okay, so basket is in those tall trees, pretty much underneath all of them. Got to go over this car, forehand probably, skip it in. Next in line is, oh hey, that works. It's that Envision Star Ray. Might just give it a little flick, try and crash it into the tree. That's way too high. Trees might have been helpful though. Honestly, this is just insulting. I have a straddle, probably left or right, which straddles are big weakness. And we are going to be putting with time lapse. The dark side of the moon. All right, folks, we have made it to hole number 9. We are sitting down 3, and this is, it's not a gimme par 4, but it is a par 4. Usually throw roller on this hole. There's a building off to the right that you can't see on camera. You have to get around that. There's a breezeway down there, and then you've got a fairly pinched off upshot. If you go really, really long, you've got a big forehand. But this really is just a placement shot off the tee. And the disc that is next is, oh my goodness gracious, a disc that might do it. It's that newer Star Ray into a headwind. I think we're gonna try that Anheuser release again, probably at that building, and just hope it turns. Let's see, hole 9, let's finish strong. Didn't give it enough height. Headwind's pretty strong, but I think it might be in line with my upshot. So all I'm asking for is a chance, y'all. Just asking for a chance. I think that in all of my hurry, I might have forgotten to tell you what my putting putters actually were, but they're anodes. Go figure, using an MVP disc for my putting putters. Used to putt with Wizards, putted with them religiously for the first year and a half I played. Switched to anodes, and what a world of difference that made. Circle 2 game is now there entirely. Dead straight putter, what can I say? I love them. I use Electron. I do not use Electron Soft. I do not use Electron Firm. All right, we definitely got a little bit lucky and we made it into that landing zone. This is just like a landing zone type shot off the tee. Roller's a great play because if it curls up, it'll probably roll up to that first basket you can see. We're playing to the one that's back against the woods. Next disc is the Grace. We could do it with the Grace. I think we're going to try to forehand it. It's either a forehand or a spike hyzer over the building, and I don't think I can control my distance that well with this over the building. I think forehand's the play. We got a little turn, and that was going to be parked. Who put that tree there? Who did that? Who did that? Somebody did that. I knew. I was like, just throw it straight at it, and if it fades a little bit to the right, like, you'll still have a good putt. And I was like, no, I want to absolutely put it under the basket, make everybody cry. But instead, tried to put a little bit of Anheuser on it and flex it, and I did. And it moved a little too far to the left. And now we've got a huge putt with a distance driver. We're definitely in C2. Disc of choice, last disc. Hopefully last disc. is going to be my Flippy Wraith, my precious child. Can I putt with it from C2? We'll see. You better hope not. Oh, I really thought that was it. It was like in line the whole time, and then it just dumped right there at the end. Looks like you guys are gonna get some discs. It's always a good round if I can avoid going into the poison ivy. There's really only like 2 patches of it at this entire course, and I always find a way to go into it, which is why I wear Fran. That's not a short putt either. All right, pulling out the beast. Hopefully we're gonna end this with just a nice par. This is quite terrible and crinkly. Well, that's it, folks. We played 9 holes. We made it all the way through the bag and then some, and ended up, I think, down 3. So, unfortunate double bogey back there, but we fought back. It was a good fight. And you know what? Down 3, throwing like pretty much the worst shots that I could possibly think of for each hole. I can't be too mad about that. And that's about gonna do it for us today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun for me to make, and I thought it was a non-boring way to make an In the Bag series. Let me know in the comments if you bag the same stuff as me, or if you have something you think I might like to throw. Tell me if you think my form is trash, whatever. I love interacting with the public, and everything that you guys say is an opportunity for me and for you to learn. Again, I'm giving away the Prodigy A2 300 soft with a sick gold foil stamp on it, really cool approach disc, and a D2 Air. These could both be yours. I might give them out to 2 different people. All you have to do is comment down below, and I'll put a link in the description, or rather just a date in the description on when I'm going to actually release these. Probably like 2 weeks after the video is uploaded is when that deadline's gonna be. So, a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, have fun, get better, and stay decent.